Within hours of the vice president announcing that she would seek the nomination after President Biden dropped out of the race, it was Black women who rallied to raise more than $1 million for her campaign. Black women were elated, but underneath those efforts was a persistent question. Was America ready to elect a Black woman to its highest office? The answer was a resounding no.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to delve directly into tonight's discussion. So you just viewed commentary from Erica L. Green, the White House correspondent for the New York Times, as she spoke on this topic. Now, this question, which persisted from the outset, perhaps due to the identity politics strategy employed by the Democratic Party, was America prepared to elect a Black woman to its highest office? Now, although this attempt appears innocent, it contributes to the perception that if she were to lose, the outcome might be interpreted as America's rejection of a Black woman. Now, during the vice president's historic campaign, many individuals, in my view, misplaced their focus on this singular question that ultimately proved pivotal for the election's outcome. Now, understand that we are all still processing the recent developments surrounding the 2024 presidential election. I have observed considerable outrage among Black women across the nation. And I want to emphasize, Black women, I want you to hold your heads high. There's no reason for you to feel ashamed. In my view, the outcome of this election does not solely reflect on the character of Kamala Harris, but rather the broader context of the current state of affairs in our country. Furthermore, it is essential to clarify that the results should not be interpreted as a condemnation of all Black women. Allow me to elaborate on this point. Now, I learned long ago that one should not eternalize and internalize another person's defeat or negativity. Rather, it is essential to embrace the prospects and the positive aspects. Now, this perspective aligns with the scripture that states, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony." Now, it is through the testimony of triumph and positivity that we can truly grow from our experiences rather than being hindered by negativity. Now, that's number one. It's essential to recognize that one should not claim another's defeat as their own. Rather, one should celebrate their victories. Now, furthermore, many women may feel disheartened because, they simply compare themselves to Kamala Harris. Now, it is important to emphasize this point. You and Kamala are not the same. You are distinct individuals with your own unique strengths and circumstances. She has greatly benefited from her career. And while some have attempted to cast a negative light on her early beginnings, I firmly believe that one starting point is irrelevant compared to the ultimate outcome. Let me emphasize it again. It is not how you begin, but how you finish that truly matters. Now, during her campaign, we know that allegations arose regarding a controversial relationship with Mayor Willie Brown of San Francisco, which some claim may have facilitated her career advancement. Let's watch.
Mayor of San Francisco was a very important figure in Kamala Harris's early life in politics. He was her much older lover. There was like a gap of 30 years. She started seeing him in her late 20s. When she was an up-and-coming prosecutor, he lavished her with gifts. He gave her a BMW. He invited her to the Oscars. They went to Paris together. And most importantly, he made introductions in that world of Democratic politics. politics. Willie Brown definitely took credit for helping her career and putting her on the path of this meteoric rise, this greatness, if you will. He helped her in her campaign to be the district attorney of San Francisco. Later on, she would go on to be the Attorney General of California, and she held that position twice. He was an incredibly important figure in her career. I reached out to him to get his comments about how he felt about her running for president. His assistant pointedly said he wasn't going to speak.
Now, this prompts an important question to my female audience out there. Who has opened doors for you? Would having someone take an interest in your career have helped you to matriculate up the corporate ladder? Could a Willie Brown or someone like him have been an asset to you? Now, would having a mentor invested in your career have facilitated your advancement up the corporate ladder? Could a figure like Willie Brown have served as a valuable asset in your professional journey? Now, it is undeniable that many individuals have achieved greater success than others, primarily because someone took an active interest in their development. Now, is this situation equitable? Now, this dynamic has led to skepticism, particularly when individuals are perceived as merely being designated for roles based on DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, resulting in a label, unfortunately, given to Kamala Harris that some found stigmatizing, that she was a DEI hire. Now, while the initial opportunity may have been presented to her, it was her subsequent efforts, in my humble opinion, that truly defined her career trajectory. Now, after entering the position, she excelled, ultimately progressing from that role to a series of promotions, culminating in her election as a senator, then vice president, and then finally as a candidate for the presidency of the United States. Now, although she benefited from an open door, it was her dedication and hard work that enabled her success. Now, Black women, you can glean from her accomplishments and allow them to serve as a valuable source of inspiration. Now, let me switch it. In the wake of President Donald Trump's recent victory, the sentiments expressed by Black women have been predominantly marked by disappointment and, unfortunately, negativity. Now, I have even observed the passionate expressions of Black women, expressing their disappointment and oftentimes anger following the defeat of Kamala Harris across various social media platforms. I know you've seen them too. Clips just like this one that illustrate their sentiments.
To the reporter that outed the Black men who went and voted for Trump. What the is wrong with y'all? What the is wrong with y'all? Y'all are so money hungry for someone who's not going to give y'all any money. It was in the woodworks for Kamala to help you out. And you said, he gave me $1,200 one time. I'll vote for him again. You hate Black women. You can't say you don't now. You actively voted against Black women. What the You were broke yesterday, you were broke today, and if that man wins, you're going to be broke for the next 4 years. Real broke.
Not to be outdone by that one, which is difficult to do. There were others who reasoned that it is now Black women and children together versus the world, and a call for Black women to unite. Let's watch.
Black women, it's just us. It's just us, and we have to lock in and organize together. I'm not talking about organizing politically. I'm talking about organizing every aspect of our existence, because no one is coming to help us. It's just us and these children. We need to organize all in and
Black
organize.
women, it's just us.
Now, the next video shares another perspective in which the woman shared the future plans for the next 4 years as it pertains to the rescue of anyone other than themselves when she shares.
I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna let it ride. Black women for the next 4 years, we're not coming to nobody's rescue. We're not marching on nobody's behalf. We're not doing none of that. We're gonna let it ride. Black men, I'm sorry, we ain't got your back. People of color, I'm sorry, we ain't got your back. Because people of color don't even want to be considered people of color. They want to be accepted so bad. So bad. Even when a man tell y'all that y'all are lesser than, y'all still go vote for him. So look, we gonna let y'all figure this out. When it was time for the country to have our back, y'all said, nah, we're gonna let that go. So look.
Now, responses like this show support for these women, like this one from Drink H2O. Sis, I understand and support you. Now, her Healthy Nurse 3 commented, Trump has said he's going to give police immunity. When they start back beating your blank, don't call on black women. Black women are tired. Now, Redbeard Ben showed some support from white men when he shared, this is the total truth, and from the white men who are also absolutely disgusted by this, I am sorry. America has shown that we do not see women as equals, and it is horrifying. This commenter who suggests that their trust was a bit misguided when they declared, this is what happens when you put your trust in a man instead of trusting God. Amen. You always have to trust God and not man. True to the Game says things that actions displayed by these women point to future behavior. When they commented, it sounds like single black women is about to make it worse for themselves. And my question to you is this statement applicable not only to single black women, but to all black women? Now, my question is this: who is listening to those women like these expressing dissatisfaction regarding Harris's defeat? And then what narratives are being presented to them? Notably, there's one, Joy Reid, a prominent supporter of Harris, has been vocal about the election and has offered guidance to black women. Additionally, she has invited guests on her platform who share and reinforce her perspectives. Let's take a listen, shall we?
When you know someone voted that way, do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up.
So I love that you asked this question because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why.
So there you have it. Dr. Amanda Calhoun, a psychologist at Yale University, recommends that black women take a break from social interactions to recover from personal setbacks.
However, I believe that common sense, something I prioritize, suggests a different approach. Instead of withdrawing, I would, let's consider the insights of this preacher, Pastor Brandon Helton from Piney Grove Baptist Church in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who may provide a valuable perspective on navigating these experiences.
Our fans.
I'm sorry for I'm preaching how I feel anyway, my family. Paul speaking to us today to let us know that if we're going to move forward in the days ahead, if we're going to have hope in the days ahead, then we've got to rest and trust in the one who is over all and through all and in all. That's really the big idea in this little Easter speech. That's what I want to pose this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to suggest that since Christ is preeminent, you can see his hands in all areas of your life when you decide and trust him enough to put your life in his hands. I'm sorry for I'm preaching how I feel anyway, my family.
Now listen to all the black women under the sound of my voice. Hear me close. The Kamala Harris loss is not, I repeat, not an indictment against you. In all honesty, many individuals expressed their intention to vote for Harris. They did. However, when they entered the voting booth, They reflected on practical concerns such as the rising cost of milk, eggs, and bacon. They then pondered the expenses associated with daycare and how funds previously allocated for family outings were now being redirected to cover grocery bills. Now, for numerous voters, the pressing need to make ends meet weighed heavily on their minds, as many found themselves facing a month with more expenses than money. Ultimately, they concluded that this election was not solely about Harris, but rather about the state of the economy. The economy ultimately led to Harris's downfall, as she was closely associated with the economy of President Joe Biden. Now, despite assurances of economic stability and positive metrics, many individuals disagreed, as these benefits did not translate into tangible improvements in their financial situations. Now, it appears that the Democratic Party expected us to accept their statements solely based on the fact that they were the ones giving them. Now, this expectation requires a significant level of trust, which unfortunately many Americans struggle to maintain. Now, exit polls indicate that only a minimal percentage of voters oppose Harris. Now, based on her race and gender, critics argue that her perceived disconnect with the electorate stemmed from her policies and vision for America, which they believe did not resonate effectively with the public. Now, I would like to take a moment to encourage Black women specifically, as well as all women, because you possess the strength and wisdom to rise above challenges. Now, to my sisters, let us refocus on empowering our communities as we embody the change we wish to see. Now, this should be our objective in the upcoming 4 years. You know, I have an idea. We could simply modify President Joe Biden's slogan from "Build Back Better" to "Build Black Better." Ladies and gentlemen, I trust that you have found value in this discussion. I certainly have, and I feel significantly more optimistic. It is my sincere hope that we do not witness an abundance of distress among Black women regarding the election from now on social media. Now, if you come across such sentiments, please consider sharing this video with them. All right? Guys, we've come to the end of the show, and I appreciate you for continuing to rock with HeSpoke Fashion. I really enjoyed you all, and I hope that you enjoyed the show as well. Now, if you like this content, please do me a favor and hit the like button and share this with someone else. That's all I have for you on this evening, and I hope that you have a good night, good fashion, and remember, HeSpoke Fashion to you. See you next time. Hope you will return to join us. To join us.
HeSpoke Fashion.